Before I begin, don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you never miss any of my stories. And before we get into this, tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing which towns and cities are here with me. Now, let me tell you about the night one of my adult students followed me quietly after class, and how the conversation went somewhere I never could have predicted. It was late on campus, the kind of late where the hall lights dim to half power and every footstep echoes a little longer than it should. My evening seminar had just ended. A small group of older students, mostly 20-somethings, finishing their degrees or taking electives to fill their schedules. As usual, the room emptied quickly. Chairs scraped, backpacks zipped, conversations drifted down the hallway. I was gathering my notes when I noticed something. One student hadn't left. Liam, 21. Quiet, sharp eyes. The type of student who listened more than he spoke. But when he finally did speak, the whole room fell silent. I thought he was packing up slowly, but as I stepped into the hallway, I felt it. Footsteps behind me, soft, measured, intentional. I turned slightly. He was a few paces back, hands in his pockets, walking with that quiet confidence he carried everywhere. "Liam?" I asked, keeping my voice gentle. "Did you need something?" He didn't answer immediately, just stepped forward until he stood close enough for me to feel the warmth of his presence, but not close enough to be inappropriate. His eyes met mine, steady and unreadable. "I wanted to talk," he said softly, "without everyone around." There was something different in his voice, a seriousness, a tension, almost a spark. I nodded slowly. "All right, what's on your mind?" He exhaled through his nose, like he'd been holding something in all evening. "Can we walk?" he asked. Walk. Not talk in the classroom, not sit in my office. A walk in the empty halls. Quietly, just the two of us. I hesitated only a moment before nodding. As we walked side by side, the air shifted. Warm, intimate, electric, in the kind of way that happens when two adults feel something, but haven't admitted it yet. Liam slid his hands deeper into his pockets. "You didn't notice," he said quietly, "but I watched you today." My breath paused, not in fear, in awareness. "Watched me?" I repeated softly. He nodded once, eyes forward. "You seemed off, like something was on your mind, and I couldn't stop thinking about it." A small shiver traveled down my spine. He wasn't being disrespectful. He wasn't crossing lines. He was being observant, attentive, noticing me in a way I hadn't expected. "What did you see?" I asked softly. He looked at me, really looked, with an intensity that stopped me mid-step. "I saw you trying to hide you were hurting." My breath caught. "Liam," I whispered. He stepped a little closer, still appropriate, still respectful, but undeniably warm. "You don't have to pretend with me," he murmured. "I'm not just your student. I see you." The hallway felt suddenly smaller, warmer, charged. "What do you mean by that?" I asked. He swallowed, jaw tense for a moment, gathering courage. Then he leaned in just slightly, voice low enough to feel like a secret. "I mean, I didn't stay after class because I needed help with the lecture." My pulse quickened. "Then why did you stay?" His answer came quietly. "Because I didn't want you to walk to your car alone, not tonight." My chest tightened, not in fear, in something deeper, something unexpected, something I wasn't ready to name. His words hung in the air between us, warm, protective, and so unexpectedly intimate that it made the quiet hallway feel like its own world. "You didn't want me walking alone?" I asked softly. He shook his head, eyes steady on mine. No, he murmured. You didn't look okay today, and I didn't want you going out there by yourself. Something fluttered low in my stomach, that unmistakable feeling of being seen, truly seen, by someone you never expected to notice you. I took a quiet breath, trying to steady myself. Liam, you didn't have to. I wanted to. His voice, deep and calm, cut gently through my words. You can tell me to leave. You can tell me I'm overstepping. But I'm here because I care. My heartbeat stumbled. Care. He didn't say worry. He didn't say concern. He said care. We walked slowly through the dim hallway, our footsteps echoing like a soft rhythm. When we reached the glass doors leading outside, the cool night air pushed against the warm quiet between us. He held the door open for me, not out of obligation, but with the kind of subtle respect that made my chest tighten. Outside, the campus was nearly empty. One flickering street lamp lit the path ahead, stretching long shadows across the pavement. Liam stepped beside me again, his pace matching mine perfectly. He spoke first. Can I ask you something? He said, voice low. Of course. He looked down at me, eyes searching mine gently. Why were you trying so hard to hide how you felt today? I exhaled, the truth suddenly heavier than my bag. It's been a long week, I admitted. Longer than I expected. Someone hurt you? He asked, his jaw tightening just slightly. I hesitated, not because I wanted to hide anything, but because I wasn't used to someone caring enough to ask. A little, I said finally. Liam stopped walking, just stopped, and I turned to face him. Who? He asked quietly. His voice wasn't angry. It wasn't jealous. It wasn't possessive. It was worried. Deeply, genuinely worried. No one you know, I said softly. He stepped a little closer, still respectful, still giving me space, but the closeness was enough to feel his warmth, even in the cool night. You deserve better than that, he said. My breath caught again. Liam, I'm serious. His eyes softened and his voice dropped even lower. You show up for everyone. You give so much. You carry so much. You look after everyone else. He paused, then added with quiet conviction. But who looks after you? The question hit my chest like a soft, warm shock. I don't know, I whispered. He took one more step toward me, closing the distance just enough to feel intentional, intimate without crossing a line. I would, he said softly, if you let me. My pulse stumbled hard. The world around us blurred. The empty path, the quiet campus, the cold night. All I could feel was the warmth in his voice, the sincerity in his eyes, and the way he wasn't pressuring me, chasing me, or expecting anything. He was just telling the truth. Why do you care? I managed to ask. His answer was immediate, honest, and delivered in a tone that felt like a fingertip brushing across the heart. Because I don't look at you like a professor. He paused. I look at you like a woman. My breath hitched. A slow burning warmth spread through me, not inappropriate, not crossing any boundaries, but deeply, undeniably drawn. Quiet, gentle, magnetic. He didn't touch me. He didn't lean in too far. He didn't break the line of respect. But the tension, the connection, the chemistry, it wrapped around the moment like soft fire. Say something, he whispered, his voice almost pleading. I swallowed. I don't know what to say, I breathed. And then he gave the smallest, softest smile, one that felt almost like a confession in itself. Then just let me keep walking you to your car. So I nodded, and we walked, side by side, quiet, warm, and undeniably connected in a way that neither of us expected, but both of us felt. The walk to the parking lot felt longer than usual. Maybe it was the quiet, maybe the cool night air brushing against my skin. Or maybe it was Liam's presence beside me, steady, warm, quietly protective. Every few steps, our arms almost brushed. Almost. He kept a respectful distance, but not too far. Just enough to let me feel him there. Not overwhelming, not intrusive, just present. It was the kind of presence that made your pulse warm, the kind you notice even when nothing is said. When we reached the nearly empty lot, Liam slowed his pace, letting the silence stretch softly between us. "Which one is yours?" he asked. I pointed. "The silver one." He nodded and walked with me right to the driver's side door. And there, under the yellow halo of the street lamp, he stopped. Not close enough to touch, but close enough for me to feel the electricity humming quietly between us. "I didn't follow you tonight because I felt obligated," he said. His voice deepened, low, warm, sincere. "I followed you because something felt wrong, and I couldn't shake it." I looked up at him, heat stirring low in my chest. "You didn't have to worry." He met my eyes with a softness that made my breath catch. "Maybe I didn't," he murmured, "but I did anyway." There was something in his gaze, a mix of concern, attraction, and something deeper he wasn't saying yet. A slow breeze swept across us, lifting a strand of my hair. And without touching me, without crossing any boundary, he said quietly, "Do you know how hard it is to pretend I don't notice you?" My stomach fluttered. "Liam?" "No," he whispered, stepping just half a step closer. Close enough for heat, far enough for respect. "Let me finish." I nodded, heart drumming. He exhaled slowly, grounding himself. "I sit in your class and try to focus on the lecture. I try to look at the board, at my notes, at anything other than you." He let out a small, breathy laugh, one that sounded both shy and bold at once. "But you make it impossible." Warmth bloomed dangerously in my chest. "I shouldn't feel this," he added softly, "but I do, every single day." The honesty in his voice hit me like a soft wave. "Liam, we can't," I said gently, even though a part of me hated saying it. "I know." His voice cracked just slightly, not with sadness, but with emotion he'd been holding. "That's what scares me, that I know we shouldn't, but I still can't stop thinking about you." A long, slow silence filled the air between us. He looked at me again, not like a student looking at a professor, but like a man looking at a woman he'd been holding back feelings for too long. "I'm not asking for anything," he said. "Not a chance, not a promise, not even a moment." He swallowed once, deeply. "I just needed you to know." A soft ache formed at the bottom of my throat, the aching warmth that comes when someone confesses something you didn't expect, but somehow already felt. "Why tell me now?" I whispered. He stepped closer, that same half step, that same gentle restraint, but this time the tension wrapped tight around us. "Because tonight," he breathed out slowly, "I couldn't let you walk away without knowing what you mean to me." My breath caught, fully this time. He wasn't pushing. He wasn't demanding. He wasn't crossing any lines. He was simply allowing his truth to exist. And it changed the entire air between us. The street lamp hummed above. The night smelled like cool concrete and warmth. And for a moment, we stood facing each other like two people trapped in a tension, neither planned, but neither denied. Finally, he pulled in a shaky breath. "Say something," he whispered. My lips parted, my voice barely holding steady. "I don't know what to say." His eyes softened. "Then say nothing," he murmured. "Just Don't forget this moment. He stepped back slowly, deliberately, giving the moment room to breathe, and the space between us felt heavier than touch. As he turned to walk away, he added quietly, "If you ever need someone, for anything, I'll show up. No questions, no pressure. Just me." And he walked into the night, leaving me standing beside my car, warm, breathless, and stunned by the confession I never saw coming. I stood there for a long moment after Liam walked away. The night felt colder without him beside me, and yet somehow warmer than it had been in weeks. His confession wasn't loud. It wasn't reckless. It wasn't a line crossed. It was simply honest, painfully, beautifully honest. A truth he'd held on to quietly, cautiously, respectfully, until it became too heavy to keep inside. I placed my hand on my car door, but I didn't open it. Not yet. I let myself breathe, a long, slow breath that felt like it reached somewhere deep, somewhere I hadn't touched in a long time. Because the truth was, I felt something too. Not something I dared name, not something I would act on, but something warm, soft, and undeniably present. A spark I didn't expect, a connection I didn't ask for, a moment I couldn't ignore. The next morning, campus was its usual blur of voices and footsteps. But when I walked into my classroom, something in me felt different, calmer, more aware, more alive. And there he was, Liam, sitting quietly in his usual seat, not staring, not avoiding, not acting different, just offering a small, respectful nod, a silent acknowledgement, a shared secret, a moment kept safely between two adults who understood exactly where the lines were, and exactly how deeply the unspoken ran beneath them. Class went on like normal, but every so often our eyes met, just for a second, and something warm flickered in the space between us. Not a promise, not a plan, just understanding. And as class ended, he packed his things slowly, but didn't stay behind this time. He didn't follow me. He didn't push. He didn't ask for more. He simply murmured as he passed by, "Take care of yourself, please." Soft, sincere, heavy with the echo of last night's truth. I watched him leave, the door closing quietly behind him. And in that moment, I realized something. Sometimes the most powerful connections aren't the ones we act on. They're the ones that change us, even in silence. Sometimes it's not about what happens next. It's about the moment that already happened. The moment you'll carry with you. The moment someone saw you, really saw you, and cared enough to say so. As I walked out into the daylight, I whispered one small thought to myself. A thought warm enough to linger long after the story ends. Some people aren't meant to stay. They're meant to remind you that you're still worth feeling for. And with that, I finally understood why last night mattered so much. Not because he followed me, not because of what he said, but because, for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel invisible.